is a tour de force of truth. The sort of truth that the rest of the media ignores or outright buries. The Dan O'Donnell Show, welcome to it, and we are going to explain exactly how that process works in denying viewers or readers or anyone who consumes a news story the relevant context in which that story must be viewed. I am Dan. You want to join the program? I know you do. The AdventNews.com talk and text line is open, as it always is. 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, where you can watch the show streaming live. But we do ask that you give it a share to expand Dan Nation. The number of people watching us on the DanoCam is growing by the day, but mostly on the free speech platform X, not Facebook and not YouTube, where we are in algorithm HE double hockey sticks. You can watch the show, by the way, on YouTube as well. We do ask that you like and subscribe. And as a reward, we'll give you a chance to win $1,000 instantly in our Spring Green Cash Contest. The word this hour is grand. Win a grand by entering the word grand. You have until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword grand to enter the contest for this hour. Your entry is picked at random. You have just won $1,000 instantly. It is Wednesday. We will play America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist? That's coming up at about 10:20 or so, and then we will talk with Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald for an update on things from Washington, D.C., including a potential contempt hearing for the Attorney General Merrick Garland. We'll get the details on that, plus an incredible initiative that's starting with the Milwaukee County Republican Party and how they're getting ready using advanced data to mobilize voters who they know would vote Republican, but they just haven't been engaged. West Allis, Cudahy, South Milwaukee, St. Francis. There is an all-out push to get these people to vote for President Trump. But first, we need your help. An explanation of what you can do to help your neighbors get out the vote for Donald Trump this November. It is Wednesday. That means there is no Trump trial today because, of course, what other day of the week would a judge want to have off than Wednesday? Clearly, if I could have, I think Mark Belling on WISN, with all due respect to him, with all due respect, he's got this whole thing wrong. As you know, he works 4 days a week. He takes Fridays off, and you would think, okay, this is, what you want to do. No. As Judge Juan Merchan in New York has proved, the day you want to take off is clearly Wednesday. You work Monday, Tuesday, you have a random day off on Wednesday, because who doesn't go out Tuesday night? I will take that back. I stopped for gas last night after I had a baseball game. Every single human being in Southeast Wisconsin was at Culver's last night. I could not believe it. Yes, I know it's mostly, kids after a soccer game or baseball game or something like that. But I am telling you, there must have been the line of cars in the drive-thru stretched all the way back into the street. And then I walked in, to pay for my gas. It's one of these where the Culver's is attached to the gas station. I walk in. Every single table was packed. I was shocked by this. And I expected, okay, there's going to be a baseball team, bunch of kids in uniforms or something. No, it's just people chilling at like 9:30 at night. Why not? I'm telling you. Culver's. Someone I posted about this on X, and everybody thought I was, I said, your state's got a bit of an obesity problem when a fast food joint is this packed at 9:30. And, oh, my goodness, were people upset. Someone posted a very prescient thing, I think, very, very intelligent thing. If Culver's ever starts selling alcohol, it's over. I said they will pass Apple as the world's most valuable company within 3 years flat. I'm telling you, Culver's, Craig Culver, where are you at? I have got ideas. You start serving beer Like in Pulp Fiction, you can go into McDonald's and order a beer with your Royale with cheese. I'm telling you, Culver's becomes the biggest fast food place on planet Earth instantly. Do love me some butter burgers. But yes, it was jam-packed on a Tuesday night. And obviously, Belling would want to get in on this. You go out, you party on Tuesday night like everybody else, and then you're off Wednesday, and then you work Thursday and Friday. This is how it works, right? Oh, wait, no, it doesn't. Everybody wants off Friday because you want a 3-day weekend. Not Juan Merchan, though, because that would allow Trump to campaign on Thursday night when people go out, when people, typically start their weekend a little early. It would also allow him to campaign on Friday, but we can't have that. So we will not hear from President Trump today because today is the day that he's allowed to go to a random campaign stop in the middle of the week. But we have a jam-packed show today. We begin, and I will warn you, I am going to be talking about stuff that you might not want little ears to hear. Because we are going to begin. So I'm going to give you a countdown. Turn off the radio for about 10 minutes or so if you don't want your kids to hear what I am calling the Ballad of Lucinda Reer. 3, 2, 1. Lucinda Reer is a drag queen. And he has been performing apparently for some time. Now, in case you're wondering what Lucinda Reer means, what this is a play on, I will direct you to Lucinda's Facebook and TikTok profiles, which are quite literally at Loose in the Rear. Get it? Yeah. Of course, Lucinda, whose handles are Loose in the Rear, does not perform sexual performances. This is a very family-friendly drag queen named Lucinda Reer. Now, you have to ignore the TikTok where the pinned video is old Luce, not in drag, but as a 20-something-year-old man, performing as what he calls the worst stripper in the world. It's meant to be a satire of strip, and he literally performs as striptease. He's fully clothed, but he's dancing suggestively. There's another video where he posts about his friends saying, okay, we want you to dance, but then he doesn't want to dance. But when his jam comes on, he immediately starts twerking. You see, totally family-friendly stuff. Now, he is totally clothed. He is not dressed as Lucinda Reer. But you can just sort of guess what someone whose Twitter handle or Facebook handle is Loose in the Rear and goes by Lucinda Reer is all about. The very name is incredibly sexually suggestive. I have got to admit, I did chuckle at the pun. I can't imagine he is the first drag queen to think of the name Lucinda Reer, but his very name is sexually suggestive. I actually did a countdown and a warning to parents who don't want to explain exactly what Lucinda Reer means. Now, if I feel the need to warn parents just saying this guy's drag name, do you suppose this would be a relevant part of an ongoing saga, the Ballad of Lucinda Reer? You think this would be a relevant part of the story about Lucinda Reer's performance in front of very small children as they make cupcakes at a bakery in Menominee Falls? You would think this would be a part of the story, right? But this is why I call this show a tour de force of truth, the sort of truth that the rest of the media either ignores or, far worse, actively buries. In not one of the media stories about Lucinda Reer's performance was the name Lucinda Reer ever mentioned. Now, you think this would be relevant, right? You would think that this would sort of explain, oh, yes, this is why people are sort of a little put off, that someone who calls himself Lucinda Reer with an obvious reference to, shall we say, I don't think Lucinda Reer is Lucinda Reer because of abnormally large bowel movements. Let's just put it like that, okay? The name itself is incredibly sexually suggestive. On all of the flyers for the drag cupcake time as part of a drag queen story time, and of course, Pride Month, at a place called Batter and Max in Menominee Falls, it was well known Lucinda Reer was going to be performing. Why, however, was the name Lucinda Reer never once mentioned in any of the stories? Now, there could be a number of different reasons for this. One, and I think the rather obvious one, is that the name itself would say, oh, yes, okay, this is obviously going to be a sexualized performance from somebody who, for whatever reason, just has to get in front of little children with the name Lucinda Reer and make cupcakes with them to gain their trust. Now, there's another reason. Maybe, and I still don't know if I am going to be yelled at by management for repeatedly saying the name Lucinda Reer, but this is the Ballad of Lucinda Reer, and I think we need to, fully explain who Lucinda Reer is and why this is such a controversy. But it's entirely possible management at the TV stations in Wisconsin said, that name is so sexually suggestive. Let's just stay away from reporting on the name because we don't want to get viewer complaints. If that were to be the case, then that sort of makes the point of why it is people are upset, right? I'm going to pick on TMJ4, but this was one of just, 5 or 6 different stories on this. I'm actually surprised this didn't make national news yet. I'm sure it did on some LGBTQIA plus minus ampersand percentage sign sites. But alas, here is anchor Steve Shamraz introducing the Ballad of Lucinda Reer. Although on TMJ4, it's the Ballad of He, She, Who Shall Not Be Named.
A kids' event at a local bakery caught fire on social media and got canceled. The event was a drag story hour and cupcake decorating day at Batter and Mac Bakery in Menominee Falls. A viewer tipped us off to the story this morning, telling us it was village trustees who were punching down against a small business.
Punching down? How dare they? And they call themselves conservative capitalists. They're punching down at a small little business. Let's send Miriam McCarr, TMJ4 reporter, to Batter and Mac's to talk with the owners.
If you ask the owners of Batter and Mac what their drag storytime event was about.
We're going to have kids come in, read a book about love and acceptance, decorate some cupcakes, and just have like a good fun time to raise money for Courage MKE, which is a local charity here in town.
But others see it differently.
We started getting messages that said we were groomers and that it wasn't kid friendly and we were going to be having this sexually explicit show for kids at our bakery.
Owners Brittany and Casey say alongside social media pushback, they began getting threatening messages and calls to their shop from no caller ID numbers telling them to shut down the event.
Okay. Not something I would suggest, but rather registering your displeasure and saying, yeah, this sort of seems like child grooming. Why would you put someone who chooses for their alter ego Lucinda Reer in front of a group of small children? Just honest to goodness, this is a question I still have not gotten a straight answer to. Why is it that Lucinda Reer, as his alter ego, Steve, or whatever his name is, on his TikTok is a good-looking young man, well-dressed, well-appointed. Why can't Steve go and read and make cupcakes with these kids? Anybody? Why does it have to be Lucinda Reer? Just seriously. What possible reason is there to have a 4-year-old make cupcakes with a drag queen? Would Batter and Mac allow me to I've got a George Washington costume. I've got a Hamilton costume. I've got an Uncle Sam costume. I can wear any of those. And I would love to make cupcakes with the kids and teach them about the Constitution. Is that something that Batter and Mac would allow? Or do I have to be dressed as a provocative woman with a sexually suggestive name? You know, would I have to be, you know what, all three of the jokes that are simultaneously in my head for what my drag name would be would probably get me thrown off the air. So I'm just going to refrain. Well, everyone is at the very least, Dave, close to Lucinda Reer, and I'm still not entirely certain I'm not going to be called into the boss's office after regaling listeners with the Ballad of Lucinda Reer. Mariam McCarr didn't talk to anybody who had an issue with this, and had she, admittedly, I didn't talk. When I first heard about this controversy over the weekend, I was going to do it on Monday, going to do it on Tuesday. It sort of exploded on Tuesday. Just didn't have time for it. I would have talked about what, like, the drag queen's name is Lucinda Reer. You don't see a problem with this? The Facebook and TikTok handles are literally loose in the rear. Like the name itself. You want to have, Mommy, why is Lucinda Reer's name Lucinda Reer? Well, son, let me explain how one gets Lucinda Reer. It's sexually suggestive on its face. But instead of talking about anybody from the community who had a legitimate gripe with putting Lucinda Reer in front of a bunch of 4-year-olds to shake said rear, they talked with the charity that this event was to benefit. And obviously, the charity, Courage Milwaukee, has a big problem with anybody thinking it's inappropriate to have Lucinda Reer shake Reer in front of kids.
The event at Batter and Mac was to support nonprofit Courage MKE, which supports at-risk LGBTQ youth.
Shouldn't we be supporting those who are doing good for others, regardless of who they're doing good for?
I met with the executive director this afternoon for his reaction to the social media firestorm.
It's a person in a costume and makeup. That's all it is. If it's bigger than that to you, it's because you made it that way.
Okay, well, if that's the case, why don't we say the name? Why is Lucinda Reer suddenly in all the media accounts he, she who must not be named? I mean, like, seriously. This is absolutely inappropriate on its face. The very name of the drag queen that you picked reveals that the performance is obviously going to be sexual in nature. And I looked at some of the drag performances of old Lucinda Reer that were posted on the TikTok page. And there's, of course, another one. He said there was one where he was shaking his thing dressed as a fairy princess in front of a very small girl. He said, this is what makes it all worthwhile. Admittedly, there was nothing in the 10-second video clip that was overtly sexual. But again, the name, Lucinda Reer. Now, is that not a relevant part of the story? To get the full context of the story, instead of thinking, wow, the village trustee, and it was Ann Lasilla, who's a village trustee in Menominee Falls, commenting on somebody else's post on a Facebook post. This was the village cracking down on the little guy, saying, this seems pretty inappropriate. That was the entire force of the village of Menominee Falls, or city or town or whatever Menominee Falls is. This is the city fathers. This is like the Tammany Hall of Menominee Falls, bullying this poor small business and Lucinda Reer. Would it not make far more sense to viewers that this is not just, oh, well, they don't want anybody to benefit Courage Milwaukee. Ugh. They don't want the art that is drag in front of 4-year-olds. Why omit the name? There are only two options. There are only two reasons why. One, because obviously the name would give people the impression, hey, yeah, the performance is almost certainly going to be inappropriate, and the name itself is inappropriate for children. Or two, the name is so inappropriate that you're not allowed to say it on television. Either way, you are omitting relevant and necessary context. So when I say this show and other shows, I know Belling talked about this today or yesterday or something. I happened to hear a little snippet while I was running errands. The only places you are going to hear are on shows like Belling or Vicky or Jay or me, the context that you need to fully understand the story, right? Why is it that the rest of the media won't provide that context? This goes beyond bias. This goes to what I would consider to be deliberate misinformation. You are not getting the full context of the story. You cannot possibly be informed about this story without hearing the name Lucinda Reer to understand why people might be a little perturbed by somebody who wants to advertise that they're Lucinda Reer performing in front of small children. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. I'll try to think of some more PG-13 drag names. And producer Dave wants to hear my drag names. Okay.
Robin Voss is a liability to secure elections in Wisconsin. He is protecting Megan Wolf, the administrator of the Wisconsin Elections Commission, who implemented illegal drop boxes, allowed outside money influence, and ballot harvesting in the 2020 elections. Regular Joe here, when President Trump was recently on my show, even he was confused why Voss is protecting Wolf.
I've heard so much about Megan Wolf, and it's like unanimous. She shouldn't be there. And Robin Voss is allowing her to be there. I don't understand it. No, she should be gone.
But Voss doesn't care what President Trump thinks. Listen to how he responded when asked about a Trump 2024 ticket.
Will you work to elect Trump in 2024 if he's the Republican nominee?
Well, I'm going to start by doing everything in my power to make sure he's not.
Voss is bad for elections, bad for Wisconsin, and bad for America. If you live in his district in Racine County, sign the new recall petition. The recall will help remove Voss before any more damage can be done to the 2024 election. Visit RacineRecall.org. That's RacineRecall.org.
Paid for by Racine Recall Committee.
Get answers to your remodeling questions from Milwaukee Nary Home Improvement Council members on this week's Remodeling Show. To find a trusted, qualified, dependable, and local remodeling specialist, turn to Nary. Call 414-771-4071 or visit MilwaukeeNary.org.
Semper Roofing and Exteriors, where reputation matters and character counts. Veteran-owned and operated. Go to SemperFiRoofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
At my company, we're always looking for people who are passionate and ready to work, but it's not always easy. It's time to broaden our horizons. In Wisconsin, about 600,000 people with disabilities are ready and able to work. People that just need you to believe in them and say yes.
And once you say yes, Thinkability Wisconsin will be there, providing transition and workforce support to help shape a better future for all. It all starts when you say yes. Join the movement at thinkabilitywi.org.
All right, who's there for heroes or their families left behind when a service member or a first responder dies or is catastrophically injured in the line of duty? Who helps our country's homeless vets? I'll tell you who. It's the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Never forget the sacrifices of our country's greatest heroes. They're hoping all of us will donate $11 a month. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org, the letter T, number 2, letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Be greeted by an owner at America's largest employee-owned jewelry store.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Turns out Menominee Falls police have told the Menominee Falls village trustee, Ann Lucilla, that there were no reports of violence or threats of violence against the Batter and Mac shop and its would-be performer Lucinda Reer. So just something to keep in mind. When they say we received threats, like what threats would those be? Like, I'm going to boycott your business because you want someone named Lucinda Reer to perform in front of small children? That actually seems kind of, I don't know, reasonable to me. Would you take your kids to Batter and Mac, knowing that there's a chance that someone advertising that they're Lucinda Reer might be serving them cupcakes? I don't know. I mean, my kids are older, and the boys at least would, you know, they're middle school and high school. They would probably find it hilarious, but nonetheless. Fox 6's Aaron Mabin had a fascinating story about a sprinter from Campbellsport who is caught up in the bureaucratic morass of the WIAA. Or is he? You decide. Here's the story.
Owanali started high school at Campbellsport before moving to Ghana for 2 years, where his parents are doing missionary work.
My mom is coming back on Wednesday, actually, and they said when she comes back, as long as we submit our documents, we should be good to go. And we submitted the documents, and they said pretty much not good enough.
The WIAA says it's unable to comment on ongoing eligibility cases specific to student-athletes' circumstances. But a spokesperson did point us to the eligibility regulations regarding transfers and residency, where this case falls.
Joshua Owanali is one of the best sprinters in the history of Wisconsin. He apparently, in a non-sanctioned meet a couple of weeks ago, running for his AAU team, set what would be, if it was run in a WIAA meet, the all-time record of 10.3 seconds in the 100-meter dash. That is unbelievably fast, just impossibly fast. But again, the context of the story is sort of missing. And as good a job as Aaron Mabin did of telling it, admittedly, the WIAA did not comment for the story, even though he reached out. They referred him to the eligibility rules, which he never outlined. Here they are. Owanali's parents did missionary work. He was apparently born in Ghana, and they go back and forth from Ghana. His father previously overstayed a visa, so now he can't get a visa to get back into the United States. Owanali wanted to go to high school at Campbellsport, right, where he had started his high school career, but because they're doing missionary work, and please don't misunderstand, this is great work, this is important work. I think this is a great kid. I think he's got an incredible future ahead of him if he can run that fast. Trust me, colleges are going to figure out how fast this kid is, and he is going to be a D1 sprinter, if not an Olympic sprinter. He's got that kind of potential. So please don't misunderstand that I'm piling on this kid or his family or anything like that. But the rule is pretty clear. If you move back into the district during the school year, you cannot participate in varsity sports for a calendar year. For varsity eligibility, this according to the WIAA's website, public school students are basically eligible to participate in the district in which their parents reside in their primary residence. Owanali's parents do not reside in the district. They reside in Ghana. The mother is attempting to frantically come back. The father can't because he can't get a visa, so he's got to stay in Ghana. He needs to live with his mother. You can't just sort of live by yourself or live with grandma and grandpa or live and have varsity eligibility. Students entering 9th or 10th grade at the beginning of the school year as open enrollment students are eligible, starting with the fall student from a resident standpoint. If this student transfers back to the school of residence after attending one day of school or one athletic practice, he or she is ineligible for varsity competition for one calendar year. A student who transfers from any school, which presumably Owanali would have been going to school in Ghana while his parents were doing missionary work, right? A student who transfers from any school into a member school after the 6th consecutive semester following entry into grade 9 shall be ineligible for competition at any level for 1 calendar year, but may practice unless the transfer is made necessary by a total and complete change in residence by parents or a waiver is provided. He transferred back to the United States, as he said in the story, specifically so he could run track. The parents didn't transfer. Now, they wanted to get back by today. The mother is trying to get back and get a waiver. The WIAA rejected the waiver. Now, I would argue here that the purpose of the rule is so that teams don't get stacked, right? So that you don't have, okay, this kid's going to come from Nicolet, this kid's going to come from Madison Memorial, and we're going to create a Miami Heat super team and win not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 championships. How many people got that reference to LeBron James and the decision? Yeah. This is clearly a special case. Now, I would, and this is just me, would you have granted the waiver, Dave? I would have, absolutely. I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer. Like, okay, the kid's parents are coming from Africa. He wants to do his senior season of track so he can catch the attention of D1 schools, which I'm sure he probably did. Track just like every other sport. The scouts aren't coming to high school meets. You go to showcase events with your club team. That's how you get college scholarships and that sort of thing in high school sports 2024. So I guess I'm here, if I'm the WIAA, I'm looking at this and saying if the mother provides a waiver, yes. But the rule is very clear. And again, the context was sort of missing. What Mabin was doing with his story was making Awanali the hero, the Campbellsport track program the hero, and the WIAA the villain without leaving any room for nuance. The coach himself, he wasn't just speaking to Fox 6. He also talked with, I believe it was something called Runner's World magazine or Sprinter's World or something like that, where he said, look, I understand the rule. I get it. It's just disappointing. So even the coach was like, yeah, this is the rule, and they get the decision on whether to grant a waiver. Should a waiver have been granted? Yes, I believe so. Campbellsport is not trying to stack some sort of super track team. This is a kid who just wants to compete in his senior year of track at the school he started with. Hopefully the WIAA reconsiders its decision, but yet again, this is a little bit of an example, not as extreme as not saying the name Lucinda Reer, because you don't want people to get the wrong idea about the drag queen grooming storytime cupcake hour at Batter and Mac. But it's, again, to create this sort of dichotomy of, here, we're standing up for the little guy. We're standing up for the hero against the evil WIAA without providing the relevant context or nuance to give the viewer, to give the consumer of the news product a better, more complete understanding of what's actually going on. That's what we do here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's conservative thought, not just talk. And we're back with more of it after this.
More of the Dan O'Donnell Show
is next.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
The housing market stays hot and prices stay high, with low inventory continuing to be the main culprit. Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty, and that's great news for sellers. High interest rates don't seem to be slowing down the buyers, but high real estate commissions are a real stick in the eye to sellers. Interview a 3.99% Redefined Realty agent before signing a contract for 5 or even 6%. Commissions are negotiable, but you have to know where to start. Visit redefinedrealty.com for your free market analysis.
Did you know you can put a second story addition on your home in as little as 45 days without moving out of the house? Hi, Justin Krieger from Vertical Works. Don't pack up, build up. With our second-story modular additions, you can double your space in as little as 45 days. To learn more, visit us online at verticalworksinc.com. That's verticalworksinc.com. Think modular, think Vertical Works.
Dan O'Donnell here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. I'm joined by Dave Spano, the president and CEO of Annex. And this week, perhaps more than other weeks, it feels like the intersection of politics and economics that we always talk about is felt more acutely, that they're on a collision course this week as we sit a little bit less than 6 months before the presidential election.
Yeah, and you saw, Dan, the ABC News poll that came out last week, and of the four major issues, the economy, immigration, inflation, and geopolitical issues, all of them being led by Trump. But there is this thing that we do look at, and it's called the misery index. And what is that? It's inflation plus unemployment added together. And this week we're going to get a CPI report, which of course tells us the inflation rate. This is an important number because 15 of the last 16 elections, Dan, when we saw the misery index going up October to October, the incumbent lost. And so we're going to have to look at this very closely. Is inflation starting to taper right now? Right now, he's right on top of that Mendoza line. So if inflation comes down, that is a good determinant of who is going to win. It could be coincident or not, but let's look at that data. Let's see if the housing numbers have come down, wage numbers. All of that will go into the inflation report, of course, which tells the Fed what to do as we get into September. That's the time they think they're going to cut. So let's pay attention to this over the next number of months and see if the Fed is going to cut or not, and we're going to have to find that out.
And this is why you need to pay attention to how external forces, we know the Federal Reserve and its cuts, impact your bottom line, but also the things that impact the Federal Reserve. And that misery index is an incredibly good indicator. So if all that sounds like a lot to take in, you need to be working with someone who's working with and for you as a fee-only fiduciary. Find them at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back. But what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SECURE to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Patio doors that stick, jam, and jump the track are enough to drive anyone nuts. Hi, this is Terry Lodwick, owner of All American Window and Door Company. Need a new patio door? Visit our showroom and take a test glide. All American Window and Door offers everything new in patio doors. Whatever you choose, help is on deck, including measuring and installation. Buy from trusted professionals passionate about quality. All American Window and Door Company, 262-255-7170. Estimates are free.
commenter points out that TMJ4 has just for some reason randomly turned off their comments on their Facebook post about the Ballad of Lucinda Reer. Can't imagine why. Total coincidence, yeah. Just tell the whole story. Use the name Lucinda Reer, unless, of course, you can't. Now, you would ask, well, Dan, why don't you just email the news director at TMJ4? I have emailed the news director at TMJ4 on multiple different stories, and I have never once gotten a response. Honestly, I don't see any point. I'm clearly not going to get any sort of comment back. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up after the top of the hour news, why is there such controversy about the Milwaukee Republican Party's attempt to mobilize voters that haven't voted but are conservative Republican leaning in West Allis, Cudahy, South Milwaukee, all across the county? We will get to that. Plus, Congressman Scott Fitzgerald, as well as America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist? Inflation came in, we're told, much lower than expected. Oh, it was a great day. The Consumer Price Index last month, it was totally unexpected. Inflation came in hot, 3.5%. This month, however, because we're within 6 months of Election Day, it came in lower. This is good. Inflation is going down year over year. Guess what it came in at? Last month, 3.5%. Hot, unexpectedly hot. This is not good. This might impact the Federal Reserve's ability to cut rates later this year. 3.5%, totally unacceptable. This month, however, inflation cooled. It was much better. 3.4%. Okay, so that 0.1% apparently makes all the difference. In reality, it doesn't really matter whether inflation is year over year 3.5% or 3.4%. The rate of inflation essentially, well, it does matter in a macroeconomic sense. The fact that inflation has been as high as it is year over year, month over month, for as long as it has been, the issue now is prices, affordability. I said I was surprised at how packed. And folks, look, I coach about 5 different sports. I understand. We go to Culver's all the time after games. Games are usually done by like 8 o'clock. This was like 9:30. I was shocked that place was still popping off. Do you know why people are going to places like Culver's and McDonald's? Because they can't afford fast casual anymore. Even fast food prices, the McDonald's, the Culver's, those prices are up 33%. Oh, well, it's because of the big greedy corporations. No, it's because the cost of producing the food that you ultimately consume, the producer price index, has been so dramatically high. And when it comes to food prices, guess what? It's not just the end user who eats the completed Culver's butter burger. Culver's absorbs a cost to buy the lettuce, to buy the tomatoes, to buy the burger patties, to produce all of that goes into a hamburger. Now, we were told that inflation eventually is going to trend downward to the 2% target rate. When exactly is that going to happen? Would you believe that inflation never got above 3%, not once in the 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency? And although President Biden has bizarrely claimed twice now within the last week that inflation was 9% when he took office, it was actually 1.4%. Inflation has not been year over year below 3% since April of 2021. We have had more than 3 consecutive years of inflation that spiked to about 9% by the summer of 2022. And now we're told, well, inflation is getting better. No, it's not. The target rate is 2%, possibly as high as 2.5%. Now we have a true affordability crisis on our hands. People can't afford anything. You can't afford a night out. You can't afford groceries. You can't afford. And this is why we're seeing record numbers of Americans working second and sometimes even third jobs. This is why there was a big story yesterday that I saw featured on even Democrat website, The Drudge Report, about Americans with a savings crisis. And we've known about this for about a decade or so now, but now it's been exacerbated as people are being forced to dip into their retirement savings. They're forced to delay retirement itself because they can't afford to live on a fixed income. There was new data from Moody's Analytics that was just put out recently. It now takes $12,000 just to pay for the same goods and services, the exact same thing that you were paying for easily when Donald Trump was president. This is an average of $35 every single day, just out the door. And this isn't like you're paying for luxury items, utilities, rent, food, gas, the things you need, necessary items. When we come back, we name the unhinged liberal of the day and how to solve the lifeguard shortage in New York.
Sleep apnea is a serious condition. And the worst part about it is, because it affects you while you're sleeping, you don't know what this condition is doing to you.
And it was scary because I found out that I was waking up 145 times an hour. 145 times. I was scared. I wasn't getting the sleep I needed.
And that's the thing. Someone like John wakes up after thinking he's slept all night, and he's been feeling run down for years, and finally finds out something really is wrong. This is why, for us, solving sleep apnea problems is so gratifying, because we really are changing lives.
I've had more energy. I'm getting better sleep. I've been told from my wife I don't snore, but honestly, it changed my life.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. Solving your breathing triangle problems means a better quality of life, and you deserve that.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both, and that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
We're rooting for everybody else now, right? Milwaukee's out of the playoff hunt, so I guess we got to pick up our other favorites. But that's part of the fun of playing daily fantasy sports over at Prize Picks. Hey, I'm Benjamin Janssen. We've been talking about Prize Picks for months now. Prize Picks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app. More than 5 million people have already signed up to become members. Have you? With a first-time deposit bonus and quick payouts, you can win up to 100 times your money. Playoff time is Prize Picks time because you pick 2 or more athletes, then you pick more or less on everything from scoring to assists to rebounds, and then you're good to go. Just download the Prize Picks app, enter in my code radio11. It is quick, it is easy, and there is a huge selection of players and stats and even specials to choose from. Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use my code radio11. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Your home is where your heart is, and it deserves the best, especially when it comes to windows. Marvin is the premier manufacturer of made-to-order windows, offering unparalleled value with craftsman-quality construction, energy-efficient technology, and the industry's most extensive selection of shapes, styles, sizes, and options. And now, they're pre-staining their products too. For more than a century, they've never compromised on quality. And the fact that they're family-owned means they take pride in their products. And that's why we like them. And why Marvin Replacement Windows is our lead brand. Because the quality will not let you down. And after over 50 years of having seen it all in the window business, I'd like to think our endorsement of this fine product means something. Marvin Windows, built around you. This is David Wilhelm, and for the area's largest selection of Marvin replacement window options, your clear choice for more is Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
We used to argue about whose turn it was to clean the gutters, but then I had leaf filter gutter protection installed.
Wait, I told you Leaf Filter had free inspections and estimates and a lifetime guarantee.
Meaning we never have to argue about whose turn it is to clean the gutters again.
But I visited leaffilter.com/triumph first.
No, I did.
It doesn't matter who. Visit leaffilter.com/triumph to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Crystal Clear Water Conditioning products by S&K Pump and Plumbing are the answer to your problem water. If iron, hardness, or odor are giving you nightmares, their water treatment specialists are ready and eager to tackle your problems. They feature water softeners, iron filters, water purifiers, and more. The answer to your problem water is crystal clear. Call them today.
When it comes to water, one call does it all. S&K Pump and Plumbing.
You know what we do here on the Dan O'Donnell Show? We provide facts, we provide evidence to be sure, but we also notice societal trends. We are observers and documentarians of culture here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, and I have noticed a trend. The left cannot stop telling us that they see illegal immigrants only as manual laborers. Time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Yes, we had Pramila Jayapal, the squad member from Washington State, saying multiple times, we need illegal immigrants to pick our food for us, to help us clean up after climate change disasters. Yes, that's actually a direct quote. Now you have Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, as pools are set to open for the summer season, lamenting the fact that New York does not have enough lifeguards. So who does he suggest? Illegal immigrants because, quote, they're good swimmers.
How do we have a large body of people that are in our city and country that are excellent swimmers, and at the same time we need lifeguards? And the only obstacle is that we won't give them the right to work to become a lifeguard.
Yes. He thinks they're all good swimmers because clearly they must have swam across the Rio Grande River. They must have ditched their little boats from Cuba and swam the last mile to the shores of South Florida. Can you get any more stereotypical or, yeah, they're good swimmers? What? He was like 5 seconds away before his aides are like, ixnay, ixnay, from calling them that racial slur that you can't say. They're good swimmers. Eric Adams is your unhinged liberal of the day. I am telling you, folks, you will find no one more bigoted ever than a liberal because they see the world through the prism of demographics. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, a revolutionary program that needs your help in the Milwaukee County and Dane County GOP.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. As promised, Republicans in the Wisconsin Senate shot down a number of Governor Evers' vetoes. Republicans overrode 9 vetoes from the governor, including one regarding a PFAS cleanup plan and another that tied up millions of dollars for hospitals in Eau Claire and Chippewa counties. Every Democrat in the Senate voted against the overrides, though they continue to say they want Republican lawmakers to release the money that the governor vetoed. Republicans in the state assembly don't have enough votes to follow suit and override the governor. The man who's in jail in connection to Milwaukee County's body parts case has sold his home. Records show Maxwell Anderson sold his home on Milwaukee's south side on May 3rd. Anderson is the prime suspect in the death of Sade Robinson, the 19-year-old who Anderson took on a date back in early April. She's been missing ever since. Her family says some of her remains have been found scattered across the county. Police searched Anderson's home and even found blood that turned out not to be Robinson's. Russia's latest offensive against Ukraine gained momentum today. Ukraine is struggling to contain the new front in their war with the Russians amid delays in crucial military aid from the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited Kyiv yesterday in an unannounced diplomatic mission to reassure Ukraine that it has American support as it struggles to defend against the increasingly intense Russian attacks. Checking the WISN Sports scoreboard, Brewers first baseman Rhys Hoskins has been placed on the 10-day injured list with a strained right hamstring. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell for the Lynch family of dealerships. Let freedom ring during Lynch's month-long Memorial Day sales event going on right now. Receive $2,250 trade assistance on top of Kelley Blue Book's fair trade value on any in-stock vehicle. Looking for a new Chevy, GMC, Ford, or Ram pickup? Start your summer road trip with a bang in your new pickup. Receive a $1,000 gift card on any in-stock brand new truck purchased from the Lynch family of dealerships. That's right, $2,250 in trade assistance on your old car and an additional $1,000 gift card when you buy a new pickup truck only at Lynch this month. Receive these great deals and buy from a dealership that truly takes care of you after the sale with Lynch Protected, covering your windshield, tires, and paint. That also includes a 3-month, 3,000-mile certified warranty. See dealer for details. Start your summer road trip now at shoplynch.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Sunshine today and lots of it. High near 70 inland, 64 lakeside. Should be a breezy northeast wind throughout the day. A few clouds and 46 tonight. Increasingly cloudy on Thursday with rain late in the day. High near 72 inland, 68 lakeside. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Unbeep Your Life Show.
Hey guys, it's your favorite psychotherapist, Anita Astley. Join me every Sunday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. and let me help you unbleep your life and relationships. An hour dedicated to helping you untangle some of those relationship knots on News Talk 1130 WISN. Don't miss out, friends.
Did you know you can put a second story addition on your home in as little as 45 days without moving out of the house? Hi, Justin Krieger from Vertical Works. Don't pack up, build up. With our second story modular additions, you can double your space in as little as 45 days. To learn more, visit us online at verticalworksinc.com. That's verticalworksinc.com. Think modular, think Vertical Works.
Buck here with Buck Buckley's Total Basement Finishing. It's about bucking time to finish your basement. We have master electricians, carpenters, and plumbers right on staff. Visit Buck Buckley's TotalBasementFinishing.com. We'll take you from basement to beautiful.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Who services and installs wells and sump pumps? Who does plumbing and repairs? How about water heaters? Who does that?
S&K Pump and Plumbing.
But who services and installs water softeners and iron filters? And what about kitchen or bathroom remodeling? Who does that? There must be one company that can handle all of your water needs. Who can you call?
When it comes to water, one call does it all. S&K Pump and Plumbing.
Have you heard that real estate commissions are coming down? Ask your 6% broker if they're still charging 6%. Spoiler alert, they are. Before you overpay to sell your home, Google Redefined Realty. We have 15 to 20 agents, 3 local offices, West Bend, Waukesha, and Pewaukee, and over 500 5-star Google reviews. At just 3.99%, you can sell your home for a fair price and get the professional full-service MLS representation that you deserve. Don't pay 6% in such a hot housing market. It's just 3.99% at Redefined Realty for the same thing.
Portrayal. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. In 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected.
Ethos fast and easy online term life insurance up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Hey, it's summer and it's time to inspect your roof. Does it look damaged or faded? Are the shingles missing? Let us take a look with a free consultation. You can't find a better warranty anywhere, I guarantee. Visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com and remember, put a Klaus on your house.
This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, news, talk, and sports radio. Podcasts too. Download the app. Free. Never sounded so good.
Conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Apparently, the young man, the track star at Campbellsport, the Campbellsport track coach, was listening to our coverage of the story last hour and said I was very fair and did a great job with it. I hope the WIAA provides the kid with a waiver. I really do. I think... Obviously, the rule is the rule, and I get that they have to enforce the rule, but clearly, how many times is a kid going to come back from Ghana where his parents are doing missionary work and he just wants to run in the WIAA state meet? Can you let him? No, the rules... Producer Dave says that you agree with me. They should absolutely waive the rule. Yeah, No, the rules are there. Okay, if they were to say, we're going to provide this kit, for those who are just coming in late, Joshua Ogunwale, I apologize. I know I'm butchering the last name. Really good. He is an incredibly talented sprinter. He might be the fastest in the 100-meter dash in the history of the state of Wisconsin. But because his family has been doing missionary work in Ghana for the last couple of years, he's coming back to run for Campbellsport High School. And unfortunately, because of WIAA regulations, you're not eligible to participate in varsity sports for a full calendar year unless you get a waiver explaining the extenuating circumstances. Now, to me, I'm looking at this as what I would think is a semi-reasonable person. I mean, I did spend about 25 minutes repeating the name Lucinda Reer, so you can question my reasonability on that one. But I also approach this as an attorney who understands that there is always wiggle room within a governmental body for extenuating for a special case like this. And honestly, I can't think of a more special case like this. The kid, his parents weren't doing missionary work in, Madison, and now he wants to go because the track coach in Campbellsport is putting together like the 1992 Dream Team, right? It's not like, well, he's going to join Usain Bolt and Michael Johnson, who also got special waivers to run for Campbellsport. He's coming back from doing missionary work. The mom is coming back. You want to talk about a devoted mom? Do you think your mom would fly all the way from Ghana so you could run track. I think the real MVP of this story is this kid's mom. Joshua, whenever, and I know this happens in every family, get mad at your mom. Yeah, Mom, you don't know it. You don't care about me. Just know she flew from Ghana so you could run track from Ghana. I'm not entirely sure I would run up the street to my kid's high school if he forgot his soccer shin guards, okay? She's flying back from Ghana. So, yes, thank you to the track coach. I mean, honestly, come on. WIAA, if you're listening, give the kid a waiver. He clearly deserves it. This is clearly something. But to say that the WIAA is cold and heartless, there are rules, there are laws in place for a reason. Dave, we talk all the time on this show about lawfare, about the uneven application of law. This goes not only to prosecuting presidents or former presidents for political gain, but it also comes down to selective enforcement of law. If you have selective enforcement, if justice is no longer blind at any level, then justice is impossible. But in this case, it's also possible within the confines of a regulatory structure because they allow for waivers to look at this case and say, look, this kid clearly, there's a special reason that he couldn't have eligibility. He's flying back from Ghana. Let's just, come on. All right. 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. If you would like to join us, DOD at iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Spring Green Cash Contest word this hour is check, CHECK, check. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword check. If your entry is picked at random, you've just won $1,000 instantly, which will be issued to you, we assume, in the form of a check. All right. The Milwaukee County GOP has started a brand new initiative entitled Operation Connecting Milwaukee. And they need your help. The question I get perhaps more than any other, well, one, it's why are you so talented and good looking? Okay, maybe I made that one up. The question I get more than any other, obviously, is what can we do? Dan, how can we help? What can we do? What can we do about this? Dan, there's vote fraud all over the place. What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Here's something you can do. Specifically, if you live in West Dallas, Cudahy, St. Francis, Northwest Milwaukee, area around Timmerman Field, Wauwatosa, Greenfield, Franklin, and the Garden District of Milwaukee around the airport. Listen up. Listen very carefully. You want to stop voter fraud? This is how you do it. You may have heard President Trump say we need a margin that is, quote, too big to rig, right? The reality is, since the days of Tammany Hall, and wouldn't you know, this is probably the first time I've made two Tammany Hall references in the same show on two different stories. Since the days of Tammany Hall in New York, since we had contested elections in this country, since there was a Democratic Party, the Democratic Party has been cheating in elections. There is a long, very well documented history of this. PolitiFact Wisconsin, if you are listening, I triple dog dare you to fact check me on this. We know it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen likely in Milwaukee. We also know, according to data that the Milwaukee County GOP has, that there are tens of thousands of likely GOP voters who don't vote, who haven't voted, who could be persuaded to vote, based on the data that the Milwaukee County GOP and other county GOP offices have obtained. Dane County is one of them. It is far better and more robust data, I am told, than the typical data that Republican parties, the national GOP, state GOP get. Because it isn't just voter registration data, which would be sufficient if we had in this state you register as a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. Very easy to see who's a high propensity or likely Republican voter, Democrat voter, when they register as a Republican or a Democrat, and then you notice, hey, you haven't voted in 10 years, let's dispatch someone to your house. It's far more difficult to do that when you don't know whether they're a Republican or a Democrat. So the data that the Milwaukee County GOP has obtained has occupation data, purchase history data. Yes, when you consent to cookies at websites that you visit, that data gets collected. There is a digital file on you. Brave New World, I know. Facebook, they can see what you're looking at. All of this goes into this calculation where you are seen, and it is, I looked at the math, and this is how they determine who it is. And then you're cross-referenced essentially against your voting record. They are able to isolate, and this is all done by algorithms, they're able to isolate who you are and when you are voting, how often you're voting. They have determined, especially in West Dallas is the critical target area for the Milwaukee County GOP. Thousands, and I mean thousands, I was looking at them yesterday, of people who they believe will vote Republican, but just need a nudge. This is where you come in. You can no longer just sort of have a transactional relationship with someone who you're trying to convince to vote, right? You need to have a relational interaction with them. In other words, it can't just be someone who comes in out of state who's looking at a notebook and says, well, Dave Michaels, I have noticed that you haven't voted. Would you like to vote for Republicans? Yes, you would. Can I count on your vote, sir? No. What we need is someone from West Dallas. Hey, yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, dude, I live over on National Avenue. Yeah, I went to West Dallas Hale. You went to West Dallas Hale? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Hey, so I'm volunteering with the Republican Party, and I think you should totally vote for Trump. What's that? You have misgivings? You don't like Trump? Yeah, look, I didn't either. I really didn't. I voted for Ted Cruz in the primary in 2016 because I thought Trump was a faker, right? I didn't think he was a real conservative like you or me. And yeah, I know I didn't like his tweeting either. But look, inflation is just killing us. Man, I spent $400 on groceries the other day. Yeah, you too? I know. As much as you might not like Trump, Biden's disastrous, right? Gas was $2.39 a gallon. Now it's well over $3.50. You got to buy premium. I noticed you got a really nice car in your garage. You got to buy premium. That's like $4.15 a gallon. It's just unaffordable, right? Yeah, okay, well, hey, think about it, and I'm going to come back. That's what you do. It's not just knocking doors. It's not just making phone calls. It's doing so with your neighbors. Essentially, what the Republican Party of Milwaukee County wants is building a relationship with your own neighbors. You are essentially the CEO of your neighborhood. This is exactly what Democrats do. This is, folks, I'm telling you, this is what they do. Now, they have thousands of paid organizers. And we used to laugh, Barack Obama, the community organizer, right? Acorn and all of that. That's what do you think community organizers do? They organize nothing except votes for Democrats. Well, now Republicans are starting to catch up on the data game that allows them to know who it is in your neighborhood or in your basic area that would be likely to vote for Republicans. And all they need is you to go out there and give them that little nudge, to give them that little push. So what you do, you live in West Dallas, especially in West Dallas. You live in Cudahy. You live in St. Francis, Tosa, Greenfield, Franklin. Cudahy is the another big one, but West Dallas is the big kahuna because Biden only won Wisconsin by 20,000 votes. 20,000. I believe, and the Milwaukee County GOP believes, that there are 20,000 potential votes for conservatives, for Republicans, for Donald Trump, just in Milwaukee County alone, but we need your help to go out and get them. So here's what you do. You go to MKEGOP. You sign up for Operation Connecting Milwaukee. You will get a call or an email back within 24 hours. And you sign up, you take a couple hours on a weekend, you knock on doors in your neighborhood, in your basic area. My goal is to get hundreds of people volunteering for this. And there is the possibility, if this catches on, that we start to pay some of the people who are knocking doors, right? The money has to come in. Success has to be there, and I guarantee it will. Now, here's where things get a little complicated. The Milwaukee County GOP, just like the Waukesha County GOP with its WIS Red initiative, has faced a significant amount of pushback. Typically from older party leaders, the baby boom generation, who remains convinced that preaching to the same choir of 75 people who show up at every Lincoln Day dinner and pints in politics is the way to expand the brand. I am telling you, it is not. Elections are no longer won at Clifford's. And I love Clifford's. I went to grade school with the daughter of the owner. It's best fish fry place in southeast Wisconsin. But you can't have your little event at Clifford's or Serb Hall and expect to win. You need to go out, you need to use advanced data, and you need to partner with groups like AFP, Moms for Liberty, Turning Point Action. These conservative groups that will be working in conjunction with the Milwaukee GOP, the Waukesha GOP, the Dane GOP. Boots on the ground is what's necessary. And the pushback is coming from people who have, well, we've done elections one way. Okay, well, since Trump was elected in Wisconsin in 2016, what have we won? A grand total of 3 statewide races out of about 30? That doesn't exactly make me convinced that the old way is working. It is my very strong contention that the old way hasn't worked since 2012, when the availability, because of social media, of advanced data and micro-targeting of voters became available. Younger party chairs, Hilario De Leon in Milwaukee County, Brandon Malley in Dane County, who are doing this sort of thing and trying to shake things up. Terry Dietrich is a little bit older. I believe he is a baby boomer, but he is forward thinking in how he wants to do. And I know a lot of people, oh, Terry Dietrich. He has an idea that is shaking things up in Waukesha County, that is providing a path to winning. Nothing else matters. Okay? I get it. You don't want the young guard. And we're facing this sort of generational challenge. I hate to say it, boomers, but you have a big problem with letting go. You do. If there is a younger generation with new ideas that wants to shake things up, that is offering better data, and has the possibility of actually getting into Dane and Milwaukee County. Nobody's thinking you're going to win Dane or Milwaukee County, but by God, there are millions of votes in those 2 counties that you could potentially go and get. You've got areas of the city, you have got areas under prior leadership in both county parties that are just completely ignored. Do you know what the single biggest county for Republican votes is in the state of Wisconsin? Milwaukee County. And it's not even close because of the sheer size of it. It's 1 million plus people. You need to go after those votes. And I know, and this is where in the GOP, it's not just a generational thing. Well, we are the people in power and we're going to stay in power. I believe there is a big part of that. And I have believed for a long time it was what in large measure underpinned we can't have an attractive female Generation Xer. Let's go with a boomer male to run statewide. State Supreme Court, and before that, the gubernatorial race. And guess what? Both boomers got shellacked. If there is the opportunity to win, the territorial squabbles that I think we're seeing in the Wisconsin GOP and the various county parties need to give way to, well, if this guy is successful in this, then he might take my job down the line. Yeah, he might. But right now, you have got a state that might be the critical one come November, and we're getting outspent 15-1. And God bless him, God love him. I do love Brian Schimming. I had him on the Belling Show and grilled him for a good 45 minutes, and I did not get a satisfactory answer as to what we're doing to do massive voter targeting and to do that to get money to pour in. Donors are starting to ask tough questions. If you notice, there's no longer an open checkbook from the Eline family or the Hendricks family or various family foundations because they haven't seen a return on their investment. They haven't seen victory. I'm not saying that WisRed is perfect. I'm not saying that Operation Connecting Milwaukee will be perfect. There may be issues with the data, and I'm sure there will be. You may get sent to some Democrat's house, but what I can tell you right now is the data that we're using is identifying people who are obviously conservative as liberal. There's flaws with all data. You got to just kind of take that into consideration. But when you have people who are willing to shake things up, who are willing to look outside the box, and who are willing to partner with organizations that do have money flowing into it, because this is the state of the conservative game right now. A big money donor is pumping money into the Daily Wire to get the message out with Ben Shapiro and his crew, to Turning Point with Charlie Kirk and that, to Moms for Liberty. Look, we squandered the Tea Party movement. There was one election. It was the 2010 Tea Party election. And then all of a sudden, in part because the Tea Party groups were targeted by the IRS and a lot of them just sort of dissipated, because the party infrastructure didn't want the rabble getting involved and threatening their hold on the party, and Donald Trump really kicked in that door and had all new people coming in, we can no longer have this generational thing where it's like, well, we send out our mailers and we have a phone bank that's staffed. Okay, well, you've got the same little old ladies who are just gossiping. And no offense to the little old ladies who are doing the Lord's work, making phone calls, but you can have quantity of hours worked and quality. Guess how many field offices Joe Biden has in Wisconsin? I believe the number is 15. Guess how many Trump and the Republicans have? 0. Think that's a problem? Think we shouldn't be trying to tap into the grassroots enthusiasm? The enthusiasm's all on the right, folks. It's all on the right. We just don't have a way to get people active in it. And this is the way to do it. I am telling you, get out there, go in your own neighborhood, walk on the street, just get active, go to MKE GOP and get involved. Get involved with WisRed. Oh, you don't like Terry Dietrich. Oh, boo freaking who. We're all on the same team. We're all working the same way. And this goes the same thing for the anti-Trump people. This is why Voss Recall 2 moronic boogaloo is such just, I honestly question whether there is like a portion of frontal lobes missing from the people who are organizing it, from Constipated Joe to Snorik, Wisconsin's own Ernest P. Worrell. Like, honestly, are you missing part of your frontal lobe? Like, was there some sort of traumatic brain injury that you have suffered? The only thing that matters is getting Trump elected, taking back the Senate, holding the House, holding the state legislature, and getting a conservative agenda that we all want passed, okay? That's it. Fini. We're all working towards the same thing. Oh, but Robin Voss is standing. No, he's not. And shut up with that. And the Voss people, oh, well, Donald Trump, do we really want him back? Yes, we do. It's the only thing standing in the way of financial ruin for this country. And if we have people who are willing to try new ideas, to experiment and get the community more active, then by God, this needs to be supported from the state and national levels. And yes, next time I have Michael Whatley on the program, I am going to be asking him that, the national GOP chairman, Brian Schimming too, at the state level. This is the sort of thing that needs to be done statewide. Use whatever data you can find, regardless of where it comes from, whatever companies, whatever nonprofits, whatever 501c3s you need to partner with, because we all have one objective: to win. Nothing else matters. You want to sign up? MKEGOP.com. We play Guess What's Racist. We do need a contestant. You know what? I'll tell you what. We're going to... Yeah, I know. Okay, up next, we're going to talk with... Is this break one? Oh, boy. Okay. Well, this was important. It needed to be said. All right. Okay, here we go. This is a perfect example. The comment that's up on my screen right now from Linda. You can get rid of corrupt CCP Voss to correct elections. This, honestly, what good does this do? What good? Linda, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, seriously. What are you doing, Linda C. Peterson, other than complaining on Facebook? What are you doing to help Trump win? Don't say I'm trying to recall Voss, because that's helping a Republican lose. Get out there, hit the pavement. It's no longer enough to just sort of sit and complain on social media. Get active. MKEGOP.com. We'll see if we can't get Congressman Fitzgerald a couple of minutes early. We'll try to play Guess What's Racist, but this is important stuff, folks. And yes, I am going to be pounding the table for this for the next few months, because this is how you win elections, on the ground with data.
Conservative thought, not just talk. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Robin Voss is a liability to secure elections in Wisconsin. He is protecting Megan Wolf, the administrator of the Wisconsin Elections Commission, who implemented illegal drop boxes, allowed outside money influence in ballot harvesting in the 2020 elections. Regular Joe here, and when President Trump was recently on my show, even he was confused why Voss is protecting Wolf.
I've heard so much about Megan Wolf, and it's like unanimous. She shouldn't be there. And Robin Voss is allowing her to be there. I don't understand it. No, she should be gone.
But Voss doesn't care what President Trump thinks. Listen to how he responded when asked about a Trump 2024 ticket.
Will you work to elect Trump in 2024 if he's the Republican nominee?
Well, I'm going to start by doing everything in my power to make sure he's not.
Voss is bad for elections, bad for Wisconsin, and bad for America. If you live in his district in Racine County, sign the new recall petition. The recall will help remove Voss before any more damage can be done to the 2024 election. Visit RacineRecall.org. That's RacineRecall.org.
Paid for by Racine Recall Committee.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
Hasselus Mattress doesn't have employees.
Try and buy with no pushy sales guy.
Well, that's great, but...
Plus, through Monday, buy a new Serta Perfect Sleeper, Beauty Rest, or Sealy Posturepedic mattress and get a free box spring or an equal amount off an adjustable base. Free next day delivery, too.
But if Hasselus is employee-free, then who are you?
The ruggedly handsome spokesperson.
But this is radio.
I'm told I have a face for it.
Right.
Find a self-service showroom near you or shop online at Hasselus.com.
Uline is here for the hard workers, for the ones rolling up their sleeves, working round the clock, and getting the job done. You're dedicated to doing what it takes to keep a business growing. Uline is dedicated to helping you make that happen. Working 7 days a week, staying fully stocked and ready to ship any of our 41,000 items the same day. Uline, your shipping and industrial supply specialists. Visit uline.com.
The headlines remind us daily, the world is a dangerous place. The elites in charge say everything's fine, stop noticing. But you know better. And your gut knows that time is short to prepare for a world that is 4 missed meals away from chaos. My Patriot Supply has helped over 3 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contain delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Secure at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200, plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. My Patriot Supply also has solar-powered generators, water filtration units, biomass stoves, heirloom seeds, and critical survival gear. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Engagement rings, wedding bands, and big anniversary dimes.
Welcome to Kessler's.
not just talk, and occasionally some tough love for Wisconsin, my humble opinion, far too stuck in the Lincoln Day dinner. Let's call it, what is it? The investment adage, sell in May and go away. How about for the Republicans, Lincoln Day and go away? They do Lincoln Day dinners. They'll do maybe a 4th of July thing. Then what else are you doing at your county party level? Oh, you're knocking doors? That's great. That's fantastic. Are you knocking doors on people you already know are going to vote for you or vote for Republicans? Or are you trying to expand by going to, with better data than we have? By definition, we have voter registration data. That's it. We have voting data, and that's it. More complete, better data is how you win. Joining me now here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald, who, as we speak, is preparing contempt of Congress charges against one Attorney General Merrick Garland. Good morning, Scott. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine. Hey, Dan. How are you?
Good. Hey, tell me about this effort to bring contempt charges against Merrick Garland.
Yeah, we've been kind of planning this in the Judiciary Committee over the last couple months, and Chairman Jordan decided to move forward with the full committee, and there's going to be a full markup of this contempt report that basically goes back to when we had Special Counsel Herr before the committee, and kind of dug a little bit deeper on the idea of, is there a difference between the transcript that members were given and the actual video when the president was asked numerous questions about why he had these sensitive documents pretty much, all over between his residency, offices, and vacation properties. So it's kind of the first step in that process to once again try and get our hands on the actual video, which we know they're hiding and they're protecting because of the way the president handles himself, and with the special counsel saying that, quite frankly, they came to the conclusion that the president lacked the mental capacity to stand trial on those violations.
Could there possibly be another reason this is being withheld? I mean, I'm struggling to come up with one.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I really believe, what we see on a daily basis in a very controlled type of setting probably is even far more worse when you've got him kind of riffing off the top of his head, asking numerous questions that is being asked of him by counsel. So we think what they did was they cleaned it up, put out the transcript minus all of the gaffes. And, I don't think it's too much for Congress, which clearly has a responsibility here to be able to ask for that video. And Merrick Garland is continuing to clearly protect the president, and it's probably time for us to move forward with the markup on the contempt report.
And what's the timeline for that?
If you do if you have the full markup as early as this week, this could be on the floor in the next couple of weeks is what we're anticipating. So you will have an up or down vote on whether or not to hold him in contempt. Now there's a juncture there, which I don't know what the percentage chance is that they'll actually comply and turn that over. But certainly I think what we're doing is turning up the heat on this, especially in light of, the dual justice system we're seeing with them continuing to go after President Trump. So there's a political piece to this as well, to try and demonstrate the inequity and justice that's happening right now between Biden and Trump.
Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald joining me here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, and I wish you all the best in that effort. So I want to switch gears just a little bit because I'm sort of hot over this, and you as serving as a longtime state legislative leader, now moving over to the federal government, you see the importance of the grassroots and working in conjunction with local parties and the state party. I was reporting on a sort of new initiative in the Milwaukee County GOP where they're trying to get people, just like the left is doing, trying to get people to essentially walk their own neighborhoods and be a neighborhood CEO, if you will. There's sort of been a little bit of pushback to this, and, you know, there's sort of the usual party infighting, which I know you've dealt with for a long time during your career. What is the importance of working with outside conservative groups, activating as many of the grassroots in getting those people, particularly in areas like Milwaukee and Dane County, where we know there are large numbers of conservatives and people who would vote Republican if they were just given that nudge?
Yeah, it's a huge part of it to be able to mobilize the base to kind of not just, like you've been saying, like reach out and do the door-to-door stuff, but to go into parts of the district, which and this changed dramatically when Trump became president, right? I mean, if you look at even some of the congressional districts, and the one that really jumps out, I think, is Congressman Tiffany's seat, the northern third of the state. I mean, I ran state Senate races in that part of the state for many years in which, there were Democrats, and I'll throw out a name, Roger Bresky, who was absolutely kind of a blue dog Democrat, voted pro-life, and we could not beat him up there. But you know what? The dynamic changed when Trump got elected. And this it percolates kind of out there still in that, even the Waukesha Party and Washington County and the Wow counties, I mean, that's been shifting significantly for a number of years. And it's a different type of Republican, I think, since Trump got elected. So the approach is different. You have to reach out to these people in a different way. You got to make the case in a different way. And I don't know that our party is necessarily caught up on that front. So but I certainly understand there's a frustration in that we need those swing voters to come our way. And I think that this cycle is really kind of, it's forming up to be a perfect kind of environment for that this time around. If we can get to the people that typically, and it's not all about President Trump, it's definitely that Biden is doing a horrendous job, and that's all going to carry down ticket this time. So, no, I mean, I think that there is a change, a shift going on, and it's been going on since 2016.
He is Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald joining me on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Sir, thank you so much for your insights on that, as well as the potential Merrick Garland contempt proceedings. I know I threw you a curveball, but I knew if anybody could speak to this, it would be you with your long career in state government.
Very good. Thanks, Dan. Good to be with you.
You too. I'm sure we will talk again soon. Folks, I really, really hate to do this. We're not going to, are we going to have time to do? No, we're not going to have time to do Guess What's Racist. I apologize. As much as I would like to blame my own screwing around and not getting down to business, this was business. I did an extended monologue on the state of the state GOP and how the factionalization of it and of the conservative movement really needs to stop. And when I say stop, I mean like yesterday, because there is far too much at stake. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, a tour de force of truth. Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell for the Lynch family of dealerships. Let freedom ring during Lynch's month-long Memorial Day sales event going on right now. Receive $2,250 trade assistance on top of Kelley Blue Book's fair trade value on any in-stock vehicle. Looking for a new Chevy, GMC, Ford, or Ram pickup? Start your summer road trip with a bang in your new pickup. Receive a $1,000 gift card on any in-stock brand new truck purchased from the Lynch family of dealerships. That's right, $2,250 in trade assistance on your old car and an additional $1,000 gift card when you buy a new pickup truck only at Lynch this month. Receive these great deals and buy from a dealership that truly takes care of you after the sale with Lynch Protected, covering your windshield, tires, and paint. That also includes a 3-month, 3,000-mile certified warranty. See dealer for details. Start your summer road trip now at shoplynch.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Dan O'Donnell here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. I'm joined by Dave Spano, the president and CEO of Annex. And this week, perhaps more than other weeks, it feels like the intersection of politics and economics that we always talk about is felt more acutely, that they're on a collision course this week as we sit a little bit less than 6 months before the presidential election.
Yeah, and you saw, Dan, the ABC News poll that came out last week, and of the 4 major issues, the economy, immigration, inflation, and geopolitical issues, all of them being led by Trump. But there is this thing that we do look at, and it's called the misery index. And what is that? It's inflation plus unemployment added together. And this week we're going to get a CPI report, which of course tells us the inflation rate. This is an important number because 15 of the last 16 elections, Dan, when we saw the misery index going up October to October, the incumbent lost. And so we're going to have to look at this very closely. Is inflation starting to taper right now? Right now, he's right on top of that Mendoza line. So if inflation comes down, that is a good determinant of who is going to win. It could be coincident or not, but let's look at that data. Let's see if the housing numbers have come down, wage numbers. All of that will go into the inflation report, of course, which tells the Fed what to do as we get into September. That's the time they think they're going to cut. So let's pay attention to this over the next number of months and see if the Fed is going to cut or not, and we're going to have to find that out.
And this is why you need to pay attention to how external forces, we know the Federal Reserve and its cuts impact your bottom line, but also the things that impact the Federal Reserve. And that misery index is an incredibly good indicator. So if all that sounds like a lot to take in, you need to be working with someone who's working with and for you as a fee-only fiduciary. Find them at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
It was a doozy, all right. Apparently, things got a little out of hand, as evidenced by the job description.
Repair heel marks on conference table.
You get the picture. Office party, a few too many drinks, and a gal who felt compelled to use the top of the conference table as a dance floor. And as you expected, we showed up on site and made that tabletop as good as new. By golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, where you'll get the industry's hands-down best lifetime workmanship warranty on your new roof. And now free annual inspections.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
With all the positive Google reviews continuing to pour in for Rich Lawn's Tire and Service Centers, we want you to know we appreciate you.
You were due for service, we delivered, and then you went the extra mile and wrote a few kind words about the service you experienced.
Yeah, thank you so much. Michael, Glenn, Jeff, Lisa, Carol, Jason, John,
Wait,
Michelle,
hang on a
Ryan.
second, Dad. As fun as it may be to name every single person who's ever left us a Google review, there just isn't enough time. We get 60 seconds, and I'd say we've got about 28 left.
Good point, Courtney.
Listen, we appreciate every last one of you for helping us maintain a nearly 5-star Google rating. And we're going to keep on shooting for the stars, especially when it comes to providing top-notch auto repair service.
Yep, and remember, be safe, buckle up, and hey, always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. Peter, Bruce, Samantha, Kimberly, Nick, Heather, Marissa,
Dad.
George, Jeremy, Diane, Brad, Paul.
They have a lot of good stuff for your garden at Miners.
Like what?
Like plants, trees, both shade and blooming, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, annuals, ground covers, yard art, trellises, pottery, and fountains.
Is that it?
Nope. They got people that know what they're talking about. And fertilizers, insecticides, fungicides, hoses, garden tools, grass seed, mulch, and bulk, soils, edging, pond supplies, weed barriers.
They got all that?
All that and more. It's gardening for the ground up, a family tradition since 49. Miners Garden Center, 76 just north of Good Hope.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to adventknows.com.
Show officially endorsed by one Donald J. Trump.
Your show is a very important show, and it's a great show, and we appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We do appreciate you. Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be in Wisconsin again. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, Thursday she's going to be in Wisconsin. Did you hear President Biden said he works for her? I'm Joe Biden, and I work for Kamala Harris, in a little bit of pandering. I'm not sure if you've been following this morning, but there is a concerted effort. It is an all-out blitz in the media, including a video of Biden, 14 seconds, and I counted something like 6 edits to get the old man through the video, in which he said that he would debate President Trump anytime, any place. Now, 1 hour ago, he tweeted out from the official @JoeBiden account, I've received and accepted an invitation from CNN for a debate on June 27th. Over to you, Donald, as you said, anywhere, anytime, any place. Never ask the what. Never ask the how. Always ask the why. Not why is this happening, but why is this happening now? Why do you suppose Joe Biden's handlers are so desperate to have him debate? Do candidates typically debate when they're comfortably ahead? Did Donald Trump take part in any Republican debate throughout the entire primary season? No. Why not? Would he need to? Did he need to? Of course not. Now, we just did a story yesterday about Joe Biden not believing the polls that show him trailing President Trump. Does this suggest that that's true? Do Biden's people really not believe the polls? Do their internal polls show them actually up? One thing that happens if there is this disconnect, what campaigns will do is they'll actually release some of their internal polling and say, look, this is what we're finding. The actual polls are not correct. No. Do you think it would be a massive risk to put Biden up at night? CNN's not going to want to do an 11 a.m. presidential debate. It's going to be 8 p.m. Central, maybe 7 p.m. Central. It's going to be a huge event. Now, why June 27th? Why not, fall? Because it's my belief that Biden wants to do it when there aren't going to be a whole lot of people who are watching, because I think they know what a risk it is. Do you only take that kind of a risk when you're up or when you're down and you need something of a Hail Mary? This, more than almost anything, suggests to me that it's not that Biden is actually up, but it is that the polls are not accurate. Based on what I saw this morning, Based on this coordinated media blitz, it is my very strong suspicion that Trump is actually up by a bigger margin than the polls are showing. We'll have to discuss that tomorrow because we are out of time today here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.